the opposite. They have seen your file. They've seen what you've put in that application. And then you're coming in and they're asking, then they may ask follow-up questions. You may not know before you go if that school does an open or closed interview process, but just so you're aware. There are, for the smaller interviews where there's not necessarily like an MMI, you may go in and there may be a handful of interviewees, maybe an alumni, maybe a current student, maybe a faculty member. They will compose their own interview groups, so it depends on the school. There is something called an MMI, a multiple mini interview, which is gaining speed at a lot of schools, where it looks like this. So this is one example. It'll be one-on-one interviews generally, and you'll have many of them back to back to back to back. And a lot of these are using that behavioral interview technique, the STAR. They're asking you about experiences. So tell me about a time when. Tell me about what you would do in this situation. So they're theoretical or actual experience-based. What would you do in this situation? So STAR method would come in handy for a lot of these. You'll do one, many. So this school, this is NYU, they do 7 rounds of quick multiple mini interviews and then a little larger one, where then you may have, a group of a current student, faculty member, admissions counselor, different things. These are all current schools that use the MMI, and this will be sent to you at the end, so you'll be able to take a look at that. Again, just remembering to treat everyone with respect when you're there. Generally, you're on. When you're on, you don't use your cell phone. Your one job that day is to prove to them that you are a great candidate and a good fit, and to find out if you truly believe that, right? You are also interviewing this school. You are seeing if you want to spend the next 4+ years at this institution. So you should be taking advantage of all of the opportunities and being very, very reflective throughout your entire time and observant. Make sure that you're aware of your body language, your posture, your eye contact, some of these unspoken verbal cues, or nonverbal cues, tone of voice, no gum, some of these things that may come across negatively. And you want to be enthusiastic about their school. Nobody is guaranteed an in. No one. So just like you're looking to see if this is a good program for you, they're looking to see if you want to be there and if you're a good fit for them. The USF Career Center has a fun thing called Optimal Interview that you can use. Optimal Interview is where you can, it's a system that you can just do for free on your computer, and it records you. So you can print out some of those practice questions and you can practice answering them, and then you can watch yourself and see the weird things that you may do. And so that you can prepare for those. Maybe you say a lot, maybe use your hands like I do. Maybe you play with your hair, maybe you touch your face. Maybe you hesitate or talk too fast. These are things you can watch yourself do through that. The USF Career Center is sometimes available for mock interviews. We also offer them here through the USF Division of Health Professions Advising. It is an option on our e-scheduler. As many of you know who've used the e-scheduler, you do have to schedule that in advance, generally 2 weeks in advance, but that is an option on the e-scheduler. And then once you schedule that, you will need to email for instructions, because we'll have some instructions of things that you'll need to be prepared for when you arrive for that interview. If there happens to be mealtime, so if they feed you lunch, if they feed you breakfast, anything like that, again, it sounds silly, but you're on. So while you're eating, you could be being watched. So just make sure, common meal etiquette applies in this situation, as it should in your entire life, but definitely in this situation. Things like eating with your mouth closed, not putting your hands on your table, not eating too fast, talking while you're eating. What about alcoholic beverages? Does anyone want to take a gander? We would probably say to just abstain. This is not necessarily a business setting, right? You may have heard, like in a business setting, hold a glass of wine, and casually sip from that one glass throughout the entire evening. This is not necessarily a business setting. It's generally better safe safe than sorry applies in many instances in an interview. So there's generally not necessarily a need to grab that one glass if it could be taken the wrong way. So we would generally just say to abstain. After the interview, we recommend that you write thank you notes as soon as possible. Again, if you wrote down their names, but you were able to hopefully find their mailing address or their email address because you wrote down their names. Everything on university campuses is usually available on the web, so hopefully you'll be able to do that. At a minimum, there should probably be an admissions office email that you could send it to. We prefer a handwritten note, however, that's been changing over the years. Some places, there's not really a way to get them a mailed letter in time, and so use your best judgment based on the school that you went to and what you think that you'd be able to get forward and what you think that they may prefer in that time span. But an email would suffice as well. All right, so we left some time for questions.
I came specifically because I'm going to do an interview for hospital volunteering.
Sure.
So I just wanted to know like attire and then like how, if you would know how they would like to attire while doing it, or if it would just be like
So yeah, so an interview for more of like a volunteer position. Same attire rules apply. Again, better safe than sorry could probably be a motto for any type of interview in a health profession setting. All right. There's tradition at play. There are different age groups at play. There are different levels at play, meaning career levels, right? There may be people who are very high up in a hospital or very high up in a medical school who are traditionally used to being around others who are very well dressed. And then there may be some more casual people who maybe in their job role, they're more casual. So generally better safe than sorry generally always applies. So you would wear a business suit or a nice black skirt with a blazer or a nice top. I think you could maybe get away without the blazer at a volunteer interview position, but you would want to have the other professional aspects. So a professional dress or a professional skirt and top combo with professional shoes. And then the second part of your question was about what that interview would look like. Those will be completely varied. Most likely you will just be interviewing with one or two people in that type of setting, because usually there's a volunteer coordinator or an individual or a few individuals who run that program.
thank you.
Yes.
What's the best way to approach a group interview? Because you don't, I feel like you don't want to come across as being the one that talks all the time, but you don't want to go unnoticed. So,
Good question. How to approach a group interview. Group interviews are tricky because the whole point of them is to see how you interact in a group. And everyone in the group knows that they're watching them to see how they interact with the group. So it sounds too good to be true, but I usually say try to be yourself. Try to answer questions that are appropriate to you. So generally speaking, you know if you have a good answer to that question because it's something that really applies to you. Don't try to answer every question, especially those that maybe don't apply as well. Don't make up a way that it applies to you so that you can answer. Answer the questions that fit best for what you have to say, and try to keep your answers concise. So there's not really like a time limit that I say, but brevity is the soul of wit here. There's a lot of other people who will maybe want to speak about that same topic. So being articulate, well-worded, having great non-verbal cues, so having open body posture, kind of giving the floor to other people, and being concise will go a long way. And not talking to hear yourself talk, which is not answering questions that don't necessarily truly apply. Yes.
How important is vocabulary? Should you use medical terminology when you're with the interview, to show that you have some insight about the career?
Good question. So should you use medical terminology? Always. As long as you know it. Again, so sometimes students will try to sound like austere and they will just throw in a whole bunch of jumbled words that sound good. Don't thesaurus everything but the night before, and don't just look up every type of medical never seen a patient faint. Like that is actually something, it's very specific, and there's no time that you've seen that happen. Generally speaking, I would imagine they're probably asking a little bit more open-ended, so a little bit more like, tell me about a difficult patient. And so hopefully by the time you're applying, you have some way that you can connect a story to the more broad question. If they happen to ask a very specific question, or if you truly have no experience that you could find a way to correlate, then you would most likely want to answer in some type of fashion where you say, you know, I don't believe that I've had that experience, but I'm very excited to be in an opportunity where I would get to experience that. And here's how I think I may respond if that were to have happened to me. So you're saying that you're open to that situation, you look forward to learning about that, about going through that experience and what it may teach you, and saying here's how you think you would respond. So you're still giving them the action that you would take, not that you did take, and what you would learn. But honesty is always the best policy as well. So, but you can, instead of saying, didn't happen to me, not sure, you say, it hasn't happened to me at this time, but I look forward to learning if that were to happen to me in the future, and here's how I think I would respond. Anything else? All right, guys, thanks so much. You know, you can always find information on the USF Health Professionals